I'm Travis and this is how I do things. Today I'm going to show you guys how to turn a couple of cedar fence pickets into this. But before we get started, be sure to click the link above so you can download your plans and follow along. Now let's get started. First, take a look at the materials and tools required to make sure you have everything before you start. Now that I know I have all my tools and materials, I'll follow my plans to make sure I have all the pieces cut that are in my cut list. If you're using a Kreg Rip-Cut and a circular saw to rip these thinner pieces, be very careful. In this case, the table saw is actually much safer for cuts like this, as long as you use a push stick and your saw has a riving knife. Take your time making all of your cuts. I like to try to do as many tasks as I can with one saw before moving on to another. It wastes a lot of time going back and forth. A zero clearance insert not only improves the quality of the cut, but it also minimizes the risk of pieces of wood falling down along the side of the blade. I have a small workshop and I have to move my dust collector every time I change saws, so this type of workflow is especially important to me. I like to mark out all of my miter cuts. This makes it very clear where I need to cut, but is also a check to ensure my miter saw is cutting an accurate 45-degree cut. For the bottom piece, you'll want to drill some drain holes. This allows excess water to drain so the roots don't rot. Plants' roots need airflow. You could use a hole saw, but I like using Forstner bits to drill holes. You just get a cleaner hole. If you want a super clean hole, drill a pilot hole, then drill halfway through. Then flip the board over and drill the rest of the way through. Now that I have all my pieces cut out, I'm going to be doing most of my sanding before I do any assembly. This will save you a ton of time. For this project, I'll sand everything with 80 and 120 grits sandpaper. This isn't a fine piece of furniture, so there's no need to get crazy here. I'm going for more of a rustic look on this project, but if you have a planer and you want a finer finish, you could save yourself a lot of time by running the boards through the planer before you cut them. And then once you're completely sick of sanding, sand just a little bit more and then you're ready for assembly. To assemble this, I'm going to use Titebond 3 wood glue, which is waterproof when dry, and 1 1/2 inch brad nails. First, I'm going to assemble the top trim piece because the inner part of this defines the size of the box. Sometimes it's helpful to use blue painter's tape to hold your joints together when gluing miter or bevel joints. Now I'm going to build the box into the top trim pieces with more wood glue and brad nails. Wood glue is very strong once it dries. I sort of use the brad nails as clamps just to hold everything together until the glue dries. Be sure to align the sides of the box with the edges of the top trim pieces. This is more important than getting the corners to line up because they will get covered by the legs later. Now I'll attach the bottom with silly putty and toothpicks. Just kidding, just checking to see if you're paying attention. More wood glue and brad nails. I sound like a broken record. Nail evenly around the bottom of the box like this. Now I'm going to grab all these pieces and build the legs. For assembling these legs, I like to use blue painter's tape. It really helps hold the joint together until I can get a couple of brad nails in there. I'll just keep going until I have all legs built up. Finally, I can install the legs onto the planter. What do you guys think I'm using to install them? Yeah, you guessed it, wood glue and brad nails. Once I'm done, I check over the planter to make sure no brad nails are poking out. If you see any, just snap them off with pliers. Now I'm going to use every lazy woodworker's favorite technique for filling holes. I'm talking about wood glue and sanding. You guys thought I was going to say brad nails, didn't you? Get over it, people! If you don't know how to use this technique, it's pretty simple. You rub a little wood glue into the holes and then sand. The sawdust from the sanding mixes with the wood glue to create the perfect wood filler. It seriously does work well. You can barely see the holes when you're done. The only problem is that it's really hard in your sanding discs, so you'll need to replace them more often. Once all the holes are filled, I give the entire thing a final sanding. Now that the planter is done, I'm going to apply my finish. You can use any finish you want here. In fact, you can use no finish if you want to let it gray naturally. I'm going to use some tung oil. If you're using the planter for fruits or vegetables, you may want to skip the oil on the inside and just leave it natural. It seems like that'd be a healthier option. Well, that's it. I am all done. Don't forget to click the link above to download your own plan so you can make your own flower planter. If you guys enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe and get ready for a lot more videos like this. We'll see you guys.